Lincoln. I like him. He's a good president. He was very important, but Abraham Lincoln did not free anybody. He is not the great emancipator. He was the great facilitator. The radical, white, radical members of Congress who were abolitionists, abolishing slavery in the 1860s, said to Abraham Lincoln, the only way you're going to end this war is by freeing the black man and letting him fight for himself. The only way we're going to win this war in 1862. He didn't believe him. He said, no, if I can end this war without freeing the slaves, I will do it. The radicals in the Congress, the Republican radical abolitionists said, no, you've got to free the black man. He's the one who will do the real fighting, because he has a reason to fight. Lincoln said no, so what Congress did on April 12th, 1862, is that they passed a law freeing the 3,100 black people who were still enslaved in Washington, D.C. 3,100. And that went into effect on April 16th. That's why April 16th is Emancipation Day in the District of Columbia. Now, here's what's important. What happened on April 17th? Slaves from Maryland and Virginia, the two slave states, started running across the border, coming into D.C. Why? Because they were free. And once they were free, 3,165 of those men joined the United States colored troops and went down south and fought. And a total of 209,145 black men fought, 38,000 lost their lives, and 26 won the Congressional Medal of Honor. And when the plantation, and when the word got out that Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, and nobody was free with a piece of paper. It was only when the slaves themselves on the plantation of 200 slaves and 12 white people, when the slaves jumped up and said, we're going to burn the barn down, and we're going to let the horses out, and we're not going to cook any more food. That's when the Confederacy began to collapse. And when the Union soldiers came down to the plantation in Georgia, Mississippi, and Alabama, North Carolina, and said, Master, you're no longer in charge. With a gun, you're no longer in charge. The United States colored troops. And the last comment I'll make on that, and I'll just close with this. There's a myth about the victory parade in April 1865, when the victory parade was heading down Pennsylvania Avenue past the White House, and all the white troops were marching, and they're all very proud. The war was over, and they had won the war, and the South was liberated, and slavery was ended, and there were no black troops. And most historians have said the reason there were no black troops is because of racism and discrimination. They didn't let the black troops march. That's not what happened. What happened is Ulysses S. Grant